Welcome to My Daily Thread. It's a great little place to get a snippet of wisdom from the yoga and the meditation masters to start or to end your day. I'm Jeff Lichty. All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. I am happy to be back after a week off, spending a little time with some family and friends back in Ontario, not to be confused with Unterrible, which is what the weather was, but it has been great and a good reminder that connection is so meaningful, and making sure we're balanced and present for those connections is completely what we're trying to do with the Yoga Sutras. How do we be present, and how do we start to work with the moral and ethical disciplines that Patañjali gave us in the aṣṭāṅga system, the aṣṭāṅga, the 8 limbs? So if we remember the 8 limbs, Yama, Niyama, Āsana, Prāṇāyāma, Pratyāhāra, Dhāraṇā, Dhyāna, and Samādhi, the first 4 were the magical limbs that we can actually do something with. The last 4 are sort of the internal limbs that start to arise out of our strong, determined, and committed practice of the first 4. And in previous episodes, we have gone through the yamas. That's the Ahiṃsā, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacarya, aparigraha, and we gave a little overview. But now Patañjali is moving us forward. Starting in chapter 235, Patañjali uses a word, pratishtayam. Now, pratishtayam means to be firmly established in whatever the practice is that you're doing. So now Patañjali is going to review each of the yamas and the niyamas and tell us what we can expect from a pratishtayam, from the strong, determined practice, and when we become firmly established in these practices. Here's verse 235. Ahiṃsā pratishtayam tatsanditau vairatyāgaha. Now, Ahiṃsā. Non-violence, non-harming in thought, word, and action, pratishtayam. When we are firmly established in that, then comes tatsanditau. In the presence of someone who is firmly established in non-violence, vairatyāgaha happens. Hostility ceases or is actually abandoned. That's a really interesting promise, isn't it, from Patañjali? When that person, someone, anyone, is firmly established in nonviolence, then hostility would cease to happen around them. We can imagine this kind of person being someone like St. Francis of Assisi, someone who is reported to have been able to sit with the wild animals, and the wild animals of all different predatorial types come and they sit around St. Francis and they don't do anything. Now, this is an interesting theory, isn't it? But wow, it's so difficult to find people that you would say would fit that category of pratishtayam. But remember this, Patañjali is never asking us to be perfect. He's asking us to work towards perfection. It's about practice for him. What are you practicing? And because it's not about perfection, we can start to think of it more as a default setting. So non-violence being our default setting as opposed to anger and hostility. Man, just think about, I saw some road rage the other day when I was back here. I'm like, whoa, that is not a non-violent default. So just as we sign off today, let's talk about a few people in our history, modern history, that seem to have this quality. Mahatma Gandhi, he's perfect. He was essential in the nonviolent resistance movement in India. And it's said that his presence alone would calm violent crowds. Even aggressors would work towards stillness. His nonviolence wasn't a weakness. It was one of his superpowers. Many people laid down their weapons, not because he asked them, but because they felt seen, they felt disarmed, and they felt human again. So that's Mahatma Gandhi. The Dalai Lama, another great person. They have a sense of peace around him. People soften in his presence. Mother Teresa, who I personally had experience with, when I was in her presence, there was nothing but light and love, and that is what I felt. That was pratishtha. It radiated from her without effort. Even think about Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. He was known for radical kindness, especially towards children, and it had a disarming effect. His gentle presence, it melted away hostility. His famous quote, Fred Rogers, "I like you just the way you are." Wow, that is an embodiment of Ahiṃsā, isn't it? Thich Nhat Hanh, another Zen monk. He was from Vietnam, and he was known to be able to just stand in presence during the Vietnam War. He refused to take sides. He said, "We must speak for peace, not for victory." What are you in this world? This is the question for you today. Are you going to stand for nonviolence? Are you going to practice becoming nonviolent in mind, in thought, in word, in deed? Can you let that radiate out to everyone around you? Okay, my friends, that's it for today. And tomorrow we'll move on with more. As always, thanks for listening. Om. Peace out.